Thank you for watching our video. Today we're going to rebuild a power steering control valve. So Kevin is doing the build, so take it away, Kevin.
Start with this part of the valve.
There you go.
Need to take a little bit of grease, grease the inside of it. Valve's already been cleaned and painted. After you grease the inner of that, this is the next part to go in. You're gonna have these are gonna go in it. You need to grease the inside of here too.
2 cups.
And goes all the way down. And you install it into the valve.
You want to grease that stud too, huh?
Make sure you grease the stud before installing. It's a little extra. Then the cup goes in.
You just drop it down till it seats down.
And take your screwdriver, pop it in there. Always use the other part of the valve to hold it.
And what's that do? Hold the cup up?
Yeah, to where you can start the rod. Goes in like that. You got the little spring. Go put it in, install it upside down.
That goes in all right.
Next thing to go is this, which holds all your inners together here. To get it started, you can usually take the screwdriver out.
So you just screw it down.
Screw it down. It's got a groove right that the rod's going to stay in. You want to make sure it stays somewhat close to there. If not, you got to loosen it back up to get it where it needs to be.
The rod has a tapered shoulder on it. Okay.
And you take your screwdriver, tighten it the rest of the way. You tighten it down until it gets tight. It won't turn anymore. Then on the inside, you've got 2 little locking grooves that this is going to go in too. And it goes in, it installs like this. The 2 ears will lock in. So you'll have to loosen it a little bit after you tighten it. You'll loosen it to line the notches up in the valve. Right there.
Hold on, let me zoom in on that.
Got a notch right there, and on this side.
So you just snug it up and then back it up till you hit the notches, kind of like doing a cotter pin.
Yeah, exactly. And you drop that piece in. Next item to go on is a small washer. It's from the old valve. You retain it. It does not come with the new kit. Then you've got 2 seals. You got a small one which goes on the bottom. It's got a groove.
Like retainers.
It's got a groove around where the bolt goes, where it fits in to the other one. It installs. It's the next part to install. It installs like so.
Now later production control valves didn't use that little retainer, and they actually used RTV in between the 2 halves. So if you get a valve that doesn't have that retainer in there, don't worry about it. You're just going to have to put RTV in between the 2 halves, and they're machine finished, so they should seal up.
Next part would be the flat washer from the kit. If you notice, one side is beveled, one side's flat. You want the flatter side up. Drop it on. Next thing to go on is a rubber seal from the new kit. You want to dip it in power steering fluid. and then install it with the lip up onto the flat washer. Then from the old valve you'll have another washer which has got the groove in it that fits in the seal. It goes down, installs into the seal. Then you have the big spring. It's the next part. Then you have the cylinder. With the cylinder, it comes with an O-ring from the kit. You have to dip that O-ring in the power steering fluid also. Make sure it's real good and lubed. After you do that, you install it. This O-ring will only go on one way. And then you turn it and make sure it's sealed good. And then that's the finished look. Then you want to take that piston and dip it in your power steering fluid also. You want it to be good and lubed, and then install just like so. Then you've got your lock little slide. Slides right in the groove of that cylinder. The next part, you've got this spring. It sits right on top of the cylinder, or the piston. Then your next part, you need to go to the other part of the valve. On this valve, where it's got the gasket here, you also have an O-ring in this part. On the laters that don't have this and that you use RTV, you will not have an O-ring here either. You got the O-ring, you want to dip it in power steering fluid, install it on the bottom. And then your next part is this piston. It has an O-ring or a seal that's going to go right here, which is right here. If you notice, it's got there's two, you can fit this on two different ways, but if you see this side's got the groove in it, you want that side down, you want the lip down on that, and once again you want to dip it in power steering fluid. And install. Once again, make sure the lip is down. And as you can see, this is all nice, clean, and smooth. Been hit on the buffering wheel. Okay, you want to lube up the inside of the cylinder. Dip the cylinder itself in the power steering fluid. And it moves. You want it moving freely around in there. Now the next part's the hardest part of the whole job, putting the two halves together. You got to make sure the seal down here is going to go in here, and you got to make sure it lines up. If not, you'll cut that seal and you'll be doing this all over again.
Now Kevin's got his own little special technique for putting these two halves together.
You have to take a pick, and you got, like I said, you got to make sure that that seal
Actually feeds up into that housing without cutting itself. And this is a big problem with people that rebuild their valves. They shove them together, and they're fighting it, and we're kind of used to that.
But once you get it pushed down, bolt 7/16. These bolts can be tricky to start. A lot of times you can start them and then you go back down and double check your halves, because right now they've separated enough to where, once again, you got to make sure that you're centered, and she's centered, and you hold pressure on them. Once you snug them up, what you'll need to do then, you'll take it over, put it in a vise, grip it right here, grip it on the vise, and then you finish tightening these down. Without a vise, you can't tighten. Next thing to go on, you've got a little lock nut. Come with the new kit. It goes on right here. Start it. Take your 7/16. It's a 7/16 also. This is the nut that you adjust to center the valve. What I do is like to see about 2-3 threads showing, and then you install it on the car and adjust it. Put the boot on.
Yeah.
Here it comes, all new in the kit also. Boot just slides on. You take your strap. I always like to bend this end first, and then that end over. You want to make sure you bend it down there, you get a good snug fit. And then take you a pair of needle nose. Bend over, hammer or the needle nose, and tap it down, and you've got a rebuilt valve. Last thing to go on is the cap, and you don't have to put it on until, you might as well leave it off until after you put it on install it on the car and center the valve. And that right there, you have a rebuilt power steering control valve.
Yeah, good deal. And that concludes the video. We want to thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned something today, and if you have any questions, you can send them to support@willcoxcorvette.com. Willcox has 2 L's. Don't be afraid to visit our website. It's willcoxcorvette.com. Thank you, Kevin. Guess we'll see y'all later.